This year marks the 10-year anniversary for Cardfight Vanguard, a trading card game from Bushy Road. They've gone through 2 reboots, several format changes, plenty of mechanics that were gradually introduced, and are even now completely rebooting the game through its newest variant, Overdress. Yes, I realize that Overdress has been out for close to a year now, but you know what? With when I started the script to when I finished it, I'm keeping it in. We're keeping it in. The game has definitely evolved over the years while still retaining its basic structure, and I've been here through all of it. So hey guys, Jared here, and welcome to my 10-year journey with Cardfight Vanguard. So I've been wanting to do this video ever since Bushy Road announced Overdress for its 10-year anniversary. However, since it's such a big video, I wanted to keep it a little bit behind the goal of getting this tiny little Vanguard channel to 50 subscribers. So thank you all for making today's video possible. I did want to wait till 100, give it some more time to breathe, wait for this format to slow down a little bit, but you know what? We got the funny 69. That's all that really matters. But I would kind of like to get some more eventually, you know, because it's just whatever. You already know the drill. If you guys are new to this channel and want to tell friends, be sure to subscribe for more Cardfight and coaster content. But enough of that chilling for now. This is probably going to be a long video. Like, I'm actually scripting this video right here. So, sit back, grab a snack, maybe grab some Raise Energy, code SKYRAGE down below to save you 15%, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the title card. Boop. So I guess that it all kind of started with the anime way back in the day. Was it because it related to Aichi being the fact that I was like then 23-year-old geeky gamer person who was merely trying to fit in basically anywhere, kind of floating around college, not really any purpose, and you just know eventually fell in love with the game like he did. It's the fact that the show taught me how to play this new game for someone who's been playing card games for a long time, things like Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically bouncing on in and out of everything ever since high school. Or it was the appeal of some of the cards like Blasters, main character power me or whatever, but like Blasters. Love the Chaotic Knights around it, just like their Arthurian lore, that was hands down my favorite. Or was it simply that the lore of Planet Cray and Psyqualia incorporating like all these otherwise normal things that made reality fantasy? I don't know, like the two worlds thing, it was just cool. Like, lore was awesome. Whatever it was, I was hooked. Luckily for me, one of my friends at that time was actually in Japan doing stuff abroad, so hit him up, got him to bring me back to Starter Deck. And I actually still have the Blaster Blade now from that original Japanese Blaster TD. Keep that case up. There's another thing I'll show you. I'll show it soon, but chillin'. After that though, I was kind of on my own for a little while. With the game being basically brand new, none of my local friends knew about it. None of my LGS's local game stores had really heard of it. So I kind of had to take matters into my own hands. I bought a box online actually for my birthday, I think. Yeah, I remember doing the opening for my birthday. I don't know if I saw the video up. If I do, I'll link it right now. It might be on one of my other channels. Little shout out that I used to have like 2 other channels that I did for various things and like eventually just consolidated here on this. So if you guys want my content, come here. But once I got that box, I basically just kind of made little 25 card demo decks for each clan. Don't remember quite how it was back in the day, but I know that now, like, if you get a box, you basically get like 3 of every common plus some other things. So, like, you can make like a mini deck. You can make a mini deck out of what you want to play. And I just had those. I was taking them all around my local areas, taking them to the mall, and like basically whatever place I could find that did card game stuff, and just kind of showing them off to everyone, trying to teach people, get them involved, and working on convincing other shops to possibly carry the product. Eventually, I did luck out. There's actually 2 shops that did that. It's one down here in Kentucky. I'm doxing myself right now. I don't care. You can know where I live. God, that sounded wrong. Yeah, there was one smaller shop. I think it was Comics the Game it's called. Shout out there. We had a very small crowd, just like 4 or 5 people that were playing here and there, but we did get it going a little bit. We got them to carry product. And eventually, the much larger shop, which was like probably the home base for the Cincinnati area, shop called Illuminati down over in, where was it? Eastgate-ish, I want to say? It's Cincinnati. And Illuminati kind of became the Vanguard shop of the area for the time being. I actually even got to be the Vanguard guy there. Like, I was the part-time worker that was the person that had knowledge of all the Bushido games, and come in one day a week to do Vanguard stuff and run tournaments there. So that was pretty chill. I just realized the background is kind of messy. You know, that's all card game stuff. You can see it in a second. That's all part of the Vanguard collection. We're keeping it in the shot. Of course, while the games start off pretty straightforward here in the old USA, while I was getting things kind of settled down in the Cincinnati community, working at the one shop, like I said, and like there were others in the area that weren't quite as big, but were getting their own little crowds that just kind of consolidated at the version that I worked at. I know there's actually, fun fact, there's actually used to be 3 Illuminatis. It was kind of a franchise thing, but like, sadly the one I worked at eventually closed, and like the original one eventually closed, so now just one over here in Hamilton. Check them out, shout out to that shop, they are awesome. But as things were settling down, things were getting a little bit weird. Not sure if it was really to keep up with like the Japanese meta or just make sure like the anime's current storyline was remaining relevant to what we're getting in the English format, but the set order was all out of order for a little while. Like I said, one of my earlier claims of fame was the Blaster deck, and before they could get their main win condition, Majesty Lord Blaster, the big boy, the Knight of Chaos himself, limit break happened. Limit break happened, and it messed with the order a little bit, like I just said. I don't want to look up the set order, I don't know why I didn't have this in, but I think like it went like 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, EBO 3, EBO 1, 4, 5, or something like that. Like, it was really all over the place. But they did it, they did the introduce limit break. Of course, this was just in time for Bushido's very first official tournament circuit. Whoa! And I went to play, of course. Like, I've gone to almost all of these, honestly, once a year at least. Found it. I actually went to the very first one in Chicago, which kind of ended up being my stomping ground. Like, eventually I did do Atlanta tournaments as well, but usually if there's a Chicago circuit or an Atlanta circuit, hit me up, I'll be there. So like I said, that was very early limit break formats. Spectre Duke was like the deck to beat, and me, not really knowing the meta back then, just kind of playing the deck I wanted to play, was playing Draconic Lawkeeper, Kagura limit break that basically just like bound the field. Precursor Narukami, shut up. Yeah, it was fun. Back then it was kind of a double elimination tournament, so I only made it to round 4. But you know what? Lawkeeper's been my boy since then. Cannot wait for him to come back in the new V collection. And baby's first major tournament experience. I got to see a bunch of people I'd never met before. That was really cool. A little bit after that, though, set order went back to normal. Set 4 and 5 came out, and I was finally able to play my precious King of Chaos. So, funny story real quick. When I was opening set 5, for the store I used to work at, it was pretty even distribution. Like, we were opening the case to have stuff in the case for customers, obviously. And I saw a pretty even distribution of the 3 main cross-ride bosses, the MLB, Peanut Butter Overlord, and Dragonic Overlord, the first of many evolutions for your boy. But when I was opening my 4 boxes, because instead of buying singles, even though I literally helped open the case, I wanted to build the deck on my own, I did not see a single MLB. But eventually I built what will become first of my main decks, and I've loyally played any Blaster themed deck that comes my way. Once MLB was actually built, things got a little bit more stagnant for me, or a bit more chaotic, which is the right word for that, honestly. With my main deck done, I had plenty of time to just kind of experiment around with the game that I'd grown to love for the last, like, year, I'd say at that point. Probably almost a year, probably. At least almost a year. And throughout that upcoming limit break format, now that things were kind of caught up, I just started playing literally whatever. I mean, still chilled on the MLB. Like, we had that 12K cross ride, and I'm not going to desert my babies. They are my babies. I will play them, and I will love them, and they are my babies. But, yeah, I was just kind of playing a lot. I think probably my big take from that format, and continues to be one of my more favored clans. I'm not gonna say one of my favorites, but like one of the ones I'm more known to play is Narukami. Thunder Dragons, the Thunder Boys. Don't blame Lawkeeper for that with his ability to mine cards, because you guys that know the clans know that Narukami basically binds stuff these days. But partially for the anime again, like Naoki, Breaktime.death, the boy. He was like hands down one of my favorite characters in the original anime, so play his clan or whatever. Loved Eradicators, like the aesthetic of them. Those like red and yellow do all sorts of cool things, dragons, and like the lore on Thunderbreak. We talk about that for a little second. Let's do a little side here. Basically, going back to Kagero. Kagero had a ride line called the Amber Dragons, which I'm not going to go over the full details of it. If you want to look up the lore, go for it. This is already going to be a long video on it. So basically, ride line happened, whatever. And the lore of Vanguard, after the first season kind of happened, we had the invasion of Link Joker, and with that we kind of had the erasure of several clans, including Kagero. So this Kagero card kind of migrated over to the new clan Narukami and became known as Thunderbreak Dragon. Then when plot happened and they formed the little archetypes, he kind of became the original Eradicator, known as the Eradicator Battling Sword. He was like one of the leaders or whatever. And eventually Link Joker happened again, and he got reversed into Battling Sabreverse. So your boy had a very involved lifetime that crossed over into literally 3 different clans. Anyways, besides Thunder Dragons, I played a few other things here and there, like, let's name some big ones. Dimension Police. I've always been a Tokusatsu fan ever since young me watched Power Rangers or whatever, so Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, my jam. Bushiroad, why have you not given us Masked Police? You literally teased it. They are Kamen Riders. Can we please have a Masked Police deck? Thank you. But I'm cool on D-Robos. Like, here's that liner premium right here. Did I cut to one? I did not cut to one. Here's literally a die liner right here. My favorite Dimension Robo, actually. I'm really happy that he has it in deck. Played that. Angel Feather a little bit. That was more of like a waifu kind of thing, and only for one archetype, because love Celestials. Remiel. That was a weird chef kiss. Gold Paladins, I kind of like grew on me ever since the Limit Break era. Partially because Garmor once again migrated over, just like the Battling Saber line did. But eventually there were some other things that I did play with golds, just mostly with Liberators relating to Garmor, because he is the boy, he is the puppy knight. I like doggos. Where's my dog? Coney, you wanna come up? Coney, you want to be on camera, Coney? Wanna say hi? No. I need to stop recording these after work because she is tired after a long day of play. And Pale Moon, mostly for Nightmare Doll. I gotta show my Alice. I want to show this. I haven't shown this on my video yet. I have an Alice plushie. You know, it's custom made for me. I'll just link the commission down below because I pretty much know them only from Facebook, and we don't want to dox them. So if you want one of these awesome Vanguard plushies, there's your shout out. Yeah. A lot of the circus was a cool aesthetic, and I mostly played my giant, beautiful gothic dolls. So Nightmare Dolls player all the way. Sometimes we rock Harry. That's the future. We haven't gotten to that format yet. So at that point, Narukami basically became my secondary deck behind Blasters. Whenever Limit Break basically became the thing to play, and Crossfires didn't matter anymore. What next? Legion formats. I'm cool with it. Like, honestly, for me personally, Legion was a little uneventful. I don't know if it's just because I fell in love with Limit Break format, or because Legion just kind of came and went. Like, it was a 2-set thing. It was 2, maybe 3 sets that we had. It was like a really fast format that kind of bridged things, and we didn't really have time to play it, but format itself was great. Honestly, format itself was great. Kind of went back to one of the big things behind Limit Break that I didn't really talk about before, but the race of being on grade 3 to get you cool effects. Only this time, instead of a tug of war at 4 damage, it now became going like way back to this game, like everything being a unit, knowing when to attack, when to defend, because your cards really matter for both, and it wasn't too much interaction. But the basic meaning behind Legion, to like literally take 4 cards from your drop zone, cycle them back to deck, you're now counting triggers, you're now like actually looking at which pieces matter, and like your combos go off a lot around them. Like Granblue, shout out to Granblue in Legion format, that was like the jam, coming from someone that barely ever plays Granblue. But yeah, I just never really put too much into the format. Again, I kind of flowed on golds there. Going back to what I was saying about them having some of my favorite clans, can we talk about Blue Flames for a second? Because I like Blue Flames. Aglavale's cool. Percival's cool. Providence is cool. Like this, I don't know, it's something about the Blue Flame Golden Knights aesthetic. I enjoy Blue Flames. I still play them to this day in V and in Zero, which came way down the line. We'll talk about that later. South Beach, pretty good. But for a while, that's all things really were. I was like the part-time guy at Illuminati. I messed with a bunch of different decks after my boys' blasters were complete. Basically went to every official Bushiroad circuit that reared its head at some point. I really topped any events, but I mean, like I said, it was fun to meet card fighters from across the nation that I never got to see. Play more seriously, and like a lot of times my locals got together. We made little groups that stayed at the same hotel, took the same bus, all that fun stuff. Like it was a nice little trip. It was a cool little unofficial official team event, we'll say, even though we literally had team leads eventually. And then G format happens. Those of you that have been subscribed for a while know exactly what I'm about to say. But if you're just now catching this vid, first of all, hope you're enjoying it. Welcome to the channel. If you do so, it would be great if you hit that little thumbs up button and subscriber for more Cardfight content. My voice went up way too high there. But show's out of the way. Gear Chronicle. Ever since that fateful day that Bushiroad gave us the concept art of Chrono Jet Dragon, like not even talking about the card, but just like the art of it. I was in full avatar mode. Look at this majestic creature right here. I don't know why I'm showing a sleeve. I'm probably gonna have art up on right now, but back then we didn't know anything about the clan yet. Just that it was called Gear Chronicle. But I mean, like I said, something about that design just clicked. Just click with me. That was instantly the avatar dropped everything else. A bit later we find out a little bit more about the details of the clan. It was kind of like steampunk time travel based, and I mean I've long since been a fan of that aesthetic, so I was sold. Toss everything out. Not really. I mean literally look at all of this that we've amassed over the 10 billion years. We're going on a trip. Yeah, I haven't invested in this game at all, by the way. This was my clan. And so, I became a very proud Gear Chronicle main. Like, I'm never gonna get the recognition that someone like Mr. Time Leap or W Lasher or anything like that has. But, I mean, if I cared about clout, I'd have more than my funny 69 subscribers. By the way, subscribe if you want more Cardfight content, because I have to show up every 5 seconds, apparently. That's how YouTube algorithm works. I had collected every card, tested literally every tech, and played at just about every event I went to, like locals every week, every Nats. I went to every official and unofficial circuit. I was Gear Chronicle everywhere. Now I'm sure most of you guys mainly know the clan as just like Time Leap and Next Stage, Tier 0, Broken at the end of G, but there's a lot more to it than that actually. Before we got a cute multi-attack gimmick, before we had the ability to resam with Guard Restrict, Gears was kind of like a jack of all trades deck, master of none. Like, we did a lot of cute things that related to time. There was a lot of Guard Restrict, which I'm gonna say is like freezing the opponent's time or whatever. We set cards to the bottom of the deck as our control method, which I always pictured as like sending cards back in time, or even when we call cards out of deck for multi-attack, bring it to the future, same with Time Leap, all that. But other than that, we just kind of like, we copied a lot of gimmicks. Early Gear Chronicle struggled for a while to figure out its place. And I mean, I guess I should mention the whole Stride thing. It's kind of their big gimmick that they got, but not really, because a lot of clans came at the exact same time, and really, technically, we had a Stride in Legion format, even though it was just a promo. Yeah, Strides representing the future selves. Gear Chronicle is literally a time travel clan. There you go. There's your plug. Gear Chronicles is a time travel clan. And they've actually done plenty since then. Like, Time Leap, of course, is the most well-known gimmick, but Demiurge Sama, our ability to stack cards from our bind zone on top of our deck to literally dictate the next few turns as a finisher. Super cool, like the ultimate OTT move there. Zodiac Time Beast, we talk about Zodiac Time Beast good because we're talking about Zodiac Time Beast because they're my boys. I know it's far from impressive and premium these days, but just like ability to search out deck, to call out multi-attacks, call from bind zone, get multiple extra turns off things like the Heritage. Like this deck was just the ultimate toolbox, and like even though it's a little slow now, especially now with the monstrous format that we'll talk about in a second. Bushiroad, can we please have some more Zodiac time beats, please? Thank you. That would be great. Credit where credit's due, though. Like, Time Leap is definitely the correct build if you want to play competitively. Heck, like, I literally got some of my first tops playing the Time Leap deck at national tournaments. Like, again, I've never done anything on paper. Like, at most day 2, top 32, stuff like that. But like, I did get, actually, that's a lie. I did actually once get a top 8 at Team League at Origins, one of the big gaming conventions in Ohio, if not the whole world. I don't know how big Origins is. Like, I see a lot of people talk about Gen Con but never Origins, even though they're basically the same area, the same kind of thing. I don't know. I've never been to Gen Con. Someone hook me up with Gen Con, please. And fun fact right there, this was actually right when Time Leap became good, when we all discovered the whole Melee Infinite Loop with Melee and Time Leaper? Time Leaper? Not Time Leaper. That's new. Time Leaper's now. History Mate here, Dragon. There we go. All that fun stuff. And I actually, in top 8, when we lost, we were playing against a big team. I can't remember their name now. I'm going to put the picture up. We're going to edit that in. But, like, if you guys remember these people, I played against them. Good match. I actually lost the mirror match to another Gear Chronicle player. So, handshake there, good sir. It counts. For a while, all was well. I had Gear Chronicle. I had that clan that I connected with more than anything else, and like, I could play it somewhat competitively. Like I said, Time Leap, even if I played something else, I always had that build to go back to. And my local area was basically set in stone blooming at that point. We had multiple shops set up. Of course, I was still doing my thing down in Illuminati for a while, and I just spoiled it right there. Not redacting that sentence. It's not bad that Illuminati closed. It's not bad at all. Basically, the original owner, the one that I worked for, decided he was gonna set up shop somewhere up north in Columbus at a new place he was calling Card Academy. Shout out to them, even though they're closed now also. God, that's horrible. And new ownership. It didn't go as well. Like, I stopped working for them briefly after the ownership changed, and push comes to shove, the shop kind of collapsed. Sad face. But I mean, good news. Like I said, we were blooming at that point. We found other shops to migrate to. I think the big one that we all mainly moved to was Two Headed Gaming, now known as Monster, down in the NKU area. Shout out to them. I do a lot of product from them, honestly. So big shout out there. If we ever somehow become big, somehow sponsor me, and like, I'll bring you greatness. But yeah, I guess I should talk about Card Academy for a second. I don't know if I want to give the owner's name because, quick spoilers, the shop no longer exists because he decided to retire. Everything that was good about Illuminati basically transferred up there and like quintupled in terms of better space to play. They had some more services, and they just became like a huge Bushiroad store doing Vanguard, White Shorts, Buddy Fight, all that fun stuff, along with the normal games. They actually end up hosting a lot of, I don't want to say unofficial circuits, but like a lot of shop challenges. Now and then do a big like Card Academy tournament or whatever that had big prize. It was really cool. A lot of qualifiers there as well. I could definitely say a lot of my buys, those of you familiar with how Bushiroad at least used to do the real circuits, like the spring circuit and stuff like that, they usually do a system where there's like a shop qualifier and you can earn a couple of round buys for the actual tournament. So I definitely earn more than my share of those there, and I usually end up with my 2 round buys for a lot of big tournaments. So thank you, that was great. I appreciate the free wins. Yeah, kind of like I just said, unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's his own choice, he did a good job. But the owner eventually decided to retire from the card biz, which, good for him. He did it for a while, and shop was amazing while it lasted, but unfortunately it's no more, so. Rest in peace, 2 good shops, both Illuminati that I worked at and Card Academy, which was awesome. Of course, Gear Chronicle wasn't the only thing that happened to Vanguard and G, it's just the only one I'm really going to talk about because this is my channel, so shut up. Seriously though, G brought us a bunch of cool archetypes and like even support for older decks. Like, I remember Overlord got some stuff at some points. Blasters, I don't mind, this is a Gold Paladin G-Zone right here. I just saw it because of that boy, which we'll talk about in a sec. Yeah, they got some really cool support as well. Just in general, good buffs all around, and, you know, strides. I just mentioned that. I shouldn't have to say it again. Strides happened. They changed the format completely. And gave us all sorts of weird stuff, like the whole race to grade 3. That, fun fact for all you guys that didn't know, couple of years in a row, literally were won at the World Circuits by grade 1 based decks, because they didn't have to ride to grade 3 and they could just rush, and them staying at grade 1 shut down every single deck that was based around generation break, which required you to stride. And you couldn't stride until your opponent was at grade 3, and it was really, really annoying as a Gear Chronicle player. But that's in the past. I mean, also in the past. It's retrospective. G-Guardians. That also happens. Can we talk about G-Guardians? Very welcome evolution. One of the biggest issues with Vanguard is the lack of interactivity. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, the core concept of it's great that, like, all your units basically have an attack and defense, so you have to debate whether it's important to commit board to actually put pressure on the board, or keep that stuff in hand, because you have to guard against your opponent's attacks. You have to modulate your resources, your counter blast, your soul blast and stuff. I'm about to go into some Vanguard attacks, talking about literally how the game's played. I'll do that. Maybe I'll make that another video in the future, just overanalyzing what makes Vanguard Vanguard. But yeah, like G-Guards, they use effects when guarding with them, which adds some interaction, even though there's also basically guard step. Like literally Gear Chronicle, literally Wisdom Blade. Literally things like this Hitter around Dragon that let you spin your opponent's card back and make them recall something during battle phase. We got interaction, and that was great. Unfortunately though, all good things can never last. Eventually, power creep happens. 1 or 2 decks became broken. Strides got more and more powerful. Xerath Dragons, that's like the super ultimate strides that you can put in every deck, and they had their own win condition with a super duper stride. That's all we're talking about Geese. He's a super duper stride win condition. Bushy Road, it's always time for a reboot. Enter the V-Series. So, not gonna lie, when V-Series was announced after all my years of collecting and playing and basically everything being reset with the reboots, I was one of the naysayers. Playing since day one, obviously that's part of my retrospective. I've been playing since day one, and this was a reboot. This was all my hard work gone down the drain. So, around that time, like, I was moving into my own place, this lovely apartment you see now, and I could definitely say that a good portion of my old collection now belongs with my former roommates. Them, of course, being Vanguard players. Don't worry about it. I didn't just unload Vam stuff, but of course, Bulk Mountain. Don't make me walk you back there. I will walk you back there again. Don't get me wrong though, like, these seemed cool. Like the gift system. What's some gifts? I picked up gifts 2 seconds ago. Here's some gifts. Gift system gave us like a whole new way to play. That all decks were basically split between these 3 different play styles, and yeah, this was our clan dynamic a little bit. Like, you can make argument for this clan being part of this gift, whatever. The point of it is that you can either play powerhouses, you can play extra attacks, or you can play defensively, and numbers reflected that. Like, we had to change the guard power, we had to change attack power, change the trigger power. A lot of positive change at the beginning of that, and it was cool. Just once again, I played since day one, and I was pissed. Of course, all the old stuff still existed in Premium. That basically became an eternal format at that point. Those of you unfamiliar, basically means that you can play every card in the game in part of this weird combination decks. Think like, I guess, Legacy of Magic? I don't know, I haven't played Magic in a while. It's an entirely different beast that anyone's ever seen before at that point. And ultimately, 95% of my locals just didn't want to play it because they're too busy with the new hotness. So honestly, I never played Premium as much as I want to back then, so rip me. I still played V, of course. It just felt pretty empty losing my connection to Gear Chronicle, that clan that I found that I had found such a connection with and was playing every single thing with. And I was basically like, we're going back to square one. The reboot was literally a reboot. They went back to the beginning of the anime series. A lot of the decks were just like rehashes of here's your Blaster Blade, and there's your CEO Amaterasu, and your Night Rose, or whatever. So yeah, for a while I just kind of like vibed with whatever. I mean, I wasn't really invested into the game because all my hard work went out the window, and I was just trying to connect with something again. Nothing really stuck. Can I put that up there? Will you say? No, I won't say. Story time! Around that time, a good sir by the name of Cole moved into town. I'm sure most of you guys may know him as one of the co-hosts to Drive Check, the Vanguard podcast. But back then, I never really listened to podcasts or anything, so I wasn't really that starstruck by it or anything. I mean, that changed. Once I got to know him and he started introducing me to the podcast, like, sure, cool, I'll go support our local creators or whatever. Download the podcast app, because once again, I never listened to podcasts. And any podcast that I listen to now, thank you, Cole, for introducing me to Drive Check, I guess. But Drive Check. Neat. I think I'm actively a supporter of them now. I commit to their Patreon. I'm part of their community. By the way, shout out to Drive Check Discord. Here's a plug right here. They do a lot of cool interactive stuff, not only for Vanguard but for other games as well. One of the huge things I love that they do is the weekly Vanguard League, which is like a remote fight league, so a lot of practice there. And once again, cool way to connect with people that you don't normally see because it's community all over the world. Yeah, shout out, Drive Check. Here's your thumbs up. I don't know where it's going. It's right up here. Thumbs all the way up there. I just realized I never talked about the other side of what's on here. SP Chrono Jet. Signed by Dr. O. I actually met him at one of the official circuits I went to that I wasn't playing, but I was hoping to vend for Card Academy at, and he was there doing his little thingy thing, so I got him to sign a Chrono Jet. Second favorite card I have besides the Blasted Blade. Eventually, Gear Chronicle did come back, but something was different. Unlike literally every other clan, they got a full reboot and upgrade for V. Like I said, they fully brought back Blaster Blade and Perfect Riser and Top Thrill Dragster. But V, my Steampunk boys, they were completely different. Like, they was literally one card that came back from the G era, Mystery Flare Dragon. And I'm going to show off the picture right now. I know I showed that on another video, but I want to do a matter for that. We're not talking about that right now. Sidetrack. Old Stride actually won the first Strides. Fun fact, the original trial deck came out around my birthday, along with a lot of other cool Gear Chronicle things that came out around my birthday. So like Gear Chronicle's always been connected to me on that level as well. Sidetrack over. Dude, I just dabbed. But it was Old Stride that basically had the ability to grant you an extra turn by paying a ridiculous cost after high rolling extremely high cost, I want to say. Like, you had to reveal 4 cards with different grades from top of your deck and then pay 4 counterblasts. It was huge. The new version's also kind of huge, more consistent in terms of you just have to reach a certain point instead of literally hoping that your top 4 cards meet a condition. But yeah, he was the only card that came back. Everything else is brand new. No returning units at all for a good year within the thing. That said, New Gear Chronicle was not good. It was Jared Gets Sad. It was Jared Gets Sad mood. Probably took them like a year, I'd say, after their V-boot to get some of the old mechanics and old units back. And I mean, if you guys are interested, I even did a mini-series. Here's your linky link right there for that. So check it out if you want some content on Gear Chronicle. So yeah, I was still back to square one, basically. Eventually, I was back at full force when the Avatar Chrono Jet came back. And that was a good year and a half, like I said, into the format's life. So I wasn't really feeling it quite as much as I used to. Like I said, the connection was still there. Like, Chrono Jet came back to me. I love this. This is my B deck. This is obviously my B deck. Wow, that's a crit. I want to show Chrono Jet. Show me Chrono Jet. There's the next stage. Just close enough. But luckily, even when I wasn't really committing to Vanguard as much as I used to, I was still using that passion and knowledge of various card games to do other things. Things like some current projects I'm working on for my self-made company, Skyridge Games. Make sure you check out. I have a YouTube channel and some those social links. I'm not going to play you with them too long, but if you're interested in checking out some games I'm working on, there's my YouTube channel for that. Check it out. And speaking of shills, I guess like some point in the last 2 years, I finally decided to do something with Bulk Mountain, and we set up a store on TCG Player to get rid of some of the stuff I wasn't using. Skyridge Games, be sure to check that out. I'm happy to say that my little shop has made close to 350 sales now in this last year or so, and I'm glad that I found a way to kind of give back to the community other than this YouTube channel and my, I guess, card shop knowledge from working at Illuminati for so long. Back to Cardfight though. Around this time, V evolved once more, oh god, I could do this right. Introducing secondary gifts into the game. And I mean, this was basically like a blessing and a curse at that point. I'm sorry, ThinkSaver. Well, good news is this further diversified strategies, playstyles, like you had your decision-making tree of, do I want to, let's say, a force deck, do I want to go for the extra power, do I want to give my units extra criticals, knowing that I can only get so far with those extra crits, but I can just keep on stacking power. Or Axel, do you want to draw a bunch of cards, or do you want to just have more power in your circle, stuff like that. Like, you had a lot more decisions to make, which made it pretty cool. That said, I just spoiled it. It's one of those decisions, one of those decks was obviously more powerful than the others. Talking about Axel 2. I mean, I guess I shouldn't complain too much because like some of my clans, like Pale Moon, Gold Paladin, Narukami, were XL clans. So I can kind of abuse them if I want to. But let's be real. Blasters, Gear Chronicles, my two main most known decks, my biggest claim to fame. I'm a filthy little Force Boy. That said, debatably my best V deck was Protect. Now I had originally built this because Coco was one of my OG Vanguard waifus, and it was a bunch of decks. I was like, let's have fun, Coco's cute, and it's a little scrap mechanic for OTT sometimes, but I didn't realize this deck slaps. Look at the Coco, look at this. I used to have the original, I forgot what the original art ones were called, but like the original art rare version of this back in the day, but I had to unfortunately sell them to make some. It's Coco! Yeah, I don't know why, but I ended up being pretty competitive with this thing. Coco, if you guys are unfamiliar with how V Coco works, basically she says that you discard some witch cards and gain protect markers for each witch you discard. So you just spam protect gifts that never die. I honestly thought it was kind of a meme, but like, it got me some tops, a lot of exos at locals, and somehow one of my crowning achievements is I used this thing to get top 32/day 2 at the very last ARG Nationals with it in New Jersey a couple years ago. So I haven't talked about ARG yet. Like, it was one of the big unofficial circuits. I qualified, gotten outside a couple times, but I never really got anything on top. Yeah, like honestly, I could have topped that event. One of the biggest misplays I had was I put in a new card the night before. I wanted to try a brand new tech that put some new consistency in there. And I completely misplayed at a top table where the mistake led to an instant game loss because, of course, the deck does stack, and I stacked it wrong because of that. But whatever. It's what you get for not really testing a brand new tech the night before you go to the tournaments. My bad. Anyways, plenty of Protect deck spam apparently works, so I'm glad. Honestly, I've played a lot of the Magical Girl, Witch, Sorceress, whatever you want to call them, decks since then. And even now, Hexorb is one of my favorite decks in D. Speaking of D, I drew a D. I should probably talk about that. Once again, power creep happens. I mentioned before the whole Axel 2 issue. If G taught us anything, Bushra decided it was time once again for a reboot. This time I wasn't quite as phased since D wasn't really a rehash of old stuff like B was, and I mean I wasn't really as invested in B as was in the original format, so whatever. I was like, cool new card game to play. Plus, yeah, a lot of new lore. Like I said, it wasn't a rehash, so we suddenly had a brand new 3,000 year time leap into the future. I said time leap, Gear Chronicle. And it was yet another way to play, so I was in. D, of course, is definitely very different, though. Between the whole introduction of the ride deck, so you no longer had to worry about misriding, Overtrigger, we'll talk about that in a second, and consolidating the 24 clans into 6 nations, there was a lot of new stuff given to us. I know the format gets a decent amount of hate for things like the Overtrigger I just mentioned. Real quick, Overtrigger gives you like 10 bazillion power and has broken effects. My 5-second take on this, literally time me 10 seconds, 10 second, we'll take 10 second take. Counter, here we go. It's really cool. Effects are fine on Overtriggers, literally reduce the power, and they're fine. They're broken because they have 10 bajillion power and you can't guard them with reduced power in the game. But if you reduce that power down to like 10, 20, maybe even 30k, just a manageable number, they will be fine. And of course, I guess is this still a big issue with the tier list? I don't know, we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, like honestly, the game was very innovative. It became very innovative in its current states. Almost every deck is unique. Like, you got Trickstar's whole overdress mechanic evolving itself. Zorga, we I know I didn't talk about orders. We'll mention that some other time. Orders are cool. They're spell cards, and they used to be generic, but now they're not, which is unfortunate. But don't worry about it because they all make sense in their own plans. Zorga, you like fuse orders, and you suddenly have a deck that actually uses orders and cares about orders. So that was really cool. And anime fanboys, Morikawa G3 Supremacy fanboys, you're probably Bastion players. Yeah, honestly, D is a welcome change. Like, outside of small issues, like the overtrigger, and I don't think the format's really bad anymore. Yes, Bastion and Bruce are bad. But, I mean, we have Laronral now for that deck. Set 3 is making some decks a little more playable, like Bear Magnus, and I guess Byrena's kind of in that tier 1.5-ish area? I don't know, I've talked with that before. Honestly, I brought it to Origins with me, and because I am now qualified for next year's PPG Nats, so... Right, Chronojet. I mean, outside of that, it's been kind of fun. Even though, unfortunately, Gear Chronicles has been relegated to kind of support for everybody. Unless you count Byreena. Byreena, right, Chronojet, let's go. But, whatever. I played plenty of other B-decks. Also, Greedon. Hashtag greedy for Greedon. So, that brings us to today. While D has basically taken over, the game is in a very healthy place, honestly. Like, V, Bushiroad actively supports that once a year, at least once a year. Plenty of new archetypical, is that the word? Archetypal support? Something like that. So V's a very fun format to play that if you're afraid of overtriggers don't exist in it because it's literally just V cards. If you do like overtriggers though, and you do like mess around with old stuff though, can I introduce you to Niskel Cup of Premium? Once again, Eternal format means you can play everything. Now you can play V cards, you can play D cards, you can play G cards, you can play older than that cards, you can play Legion, you can play literally whatever mismatch that you want. It's the Wild West of Vanguard, and I love the chaos. Honestly, I didn't play too much Premium back at the end of V format / early D when it was the quote-unquote bad format, but with the recent ban list, I started playing again, and it is fun. But what about you guys? What's your Vanguard story? Comment down below what your favorite clan is, or like maybe share some memories of the past decade. I'd love to see some more videos of this style, kind of talking about our history with a beloved Cardfight, or maybe even catch you guys live at some of the Bushiroad circuits, like BRO. Standards coming up after this is published. Can't wait to see you guys. I'm definitely playing that. Can't wait to hopefully play some of you. And they just announced Springfest is finally coming back. So maybe I'll catch you guys in Chicago or something like that. Atlanta too, that's their option. Thanks for sticking with me these last 10 years and checking out this little corner of YouTube. I'm happy to say this special. Actually, I saved it for number 200. So that's a pretty cool milestone there. And I can't wait to post some more little mini-series, card fights. I have this really good webcam now that I have set for remote plays and stuff. I do plenty of deck discussions and product opening and more. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in seeing that. It'd be pretty cool. And also, I'm gonna shout out Raise Energy because it's the end of the video and we gotta do that. And Code Skyrish save you 15%. I'm literally wearing my Raise shirt. I haven't really shown that off in this video. Until next time, always embrace the infinite.